If I found you with 5 million shillings in your bank account, I'll tell your wife. For them to realize you are not as they think. I think by now you already know. All the people I know, by the way, including myself somehow, a lot of money is made during crisis. Warren Buffett, the one for Berkshire Hathaway. I'm thinking as a businessman, you already know Warren Buffett. If you Google Berkshire Hathaway holdings in cash, crazy amounts of money, crazy, in hundreds of billions of dollars. What does he do? He has studied the markets, he has studied the economies very well. Like in the year 2002-08 financial crisis, his work was to deploy cash. Why are you deploying cash? There was a crisis, financial crisis in the entire world. So what was happening? Companies were collapsing. So Warren Buffett, he was happy. Companies were begging him to buy them at any price. So he bought up a company like Bank of America. They merged with another one which was called Merrill Lynch, became BOA Merrill Lynch, bought them for nothing. Another one. So, and he keeps saying, and this is a point you need also when you are investing, when everyone is very greedy, be fearful. And when everyone is very fearful, be greedy. Because we operate in herd mentality as human beings. For example, now, I'll mention something about the NSC, Nairobi Securities Exchange. There was a time I was buying some shares there. Guys were wondering, even my friends, I could tell them, buy. Nunua hii share. Wanashindwa hii mtu. You know, by then, stock market was dampened, not just in Kenya, globally. By that time, even last year, the entire globe was a rate market. People were chasing after the highest rates, fixed income. So, very few people were paying attention to equities. Equities are shares. I'm just trying to say, when others are fearful, be greedy. When you see everyone is buying a treasury board, fixed income assets, because they are giving very high rates, economies are cyclical all the time. You wait where you need to wait. Wait by buying what they are not buying. And then when the reverse also happens. What am I also trying to say there? You think honestly, because you are saying we are moving from M to B. M meaning? And B? Yeah. If you start kuongea such things, they may appear differently as a politician talking about that. Now, you want to tell me you want to move from M to B, and you can't do basic analysis about your own money. Study markets, study economies. Do you know the time you invest in your day-to-day business? You know, running a business is very tedious. You think about, I'm referring to my brother a lot because I was told what he does. Mafuta, ukienda short ya 3 bob ni hasara because that's all your profit. Every time you are repairing your mind to the extreme. You also need to invest some time learning, studying threads about the economies, how do economies operate for the last 20 years, so that you have a view of how is it likely to operate for the next few years. And you can do that. You don't need professionals to do all those things. You study Kenyan market, you study South African market, you study American market. You can always predict the next time you're having a financial crisis. Even if you are not very precise, you'll not be very far away. And those are opportunities to make money. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not for exam, it's for making money. When you have, now I'm talking about business people and entrepreneurs. As you continue growing, of course you must learn to use professionals. Umeanza biashara, uwezi ajiri hata accountant. HR kuajiri, HR is your wife and you are the CEO. There is always a premium they bring, and especially structuring your business to be a corporate. Stop running a business. Start running a corporation. a corporation where even if I needed to invest in your business, there is something I can fall back to as data. But you also need to be very obsessed with success. If those of you who like reading, I would challenge you, look for the autobiography of Elon Musk, the one written by Isaacson. I think he's called Isaacson. Those who can read. And you realize, my friends, those people, like now he's worth for over 400 billion US dollars. 400 billion US dollars. US dollars. US dollars, eh? 400 over. US? When you read that book, then you start realizing, hakuna vitu ati utaokota tu kwa njia. You have to have an obsession to succeed. Not just at the feeling, some obsession, so that unashikilia, and especially when you had already done your basic analysis and you know what you are doing is right, you have to have some obsession. And I've seen it across people. You read about the founders of Apple, Elon Musk, all those guys I'm mentioning, you realize you need to be obsessed to succeed. Decision making. There is something I want you to always have in mind. And especially I have seen it rife in investments. I've been in stockbroking since, for example, my first year in KU. So I've seen cycles of downs and ups. And I have seen in life, just as in business, just as in entrepreneurship, here you are all employers. Me, I'm not talking to you as employees anymore. Because you already decided, those who are in jobs, you are resigning soon. I think you agreed that a long time ago. Otherwise, you're in the wrong forum. You need to make, maybe a decade is 10 years. You need to make like only 4 strategic decisions in those 10 years. Instead of tiring yourself on a day-to-day decision making. When you are making a strategic decision, never afford to make a stupid decision. Use a lot of data. Use a lot of analysis. You don't need to do that every day. For example, in 10 years, you make 4 strategic decisions, you are good to go. But we tie ourselves and our mind making micro decisions that we have no time to think about making strategic big decisions. And those big decisions are what matters. Investors like the ones I mentioned, including Kenya, the decision, for example, Equity did in 2007. A company called the Heriois Capital came, a private equity fund. They got 24.5% of Equity Bank. That strategic decision they made was more important than how the branch operates every day. Strategic decisions. A strategic decision of KCB Bank to go to DRC and buy a bank there instead of starting one from scratch. That needed a lot of decision making that is weighty, deep. That strategic decision making is more important than every day-to-day running of KCB Bank. The strategic decision, let's say, of Brookside selling a stake to Danone, a French company, that decision making maybe is more important than the amount of milk they were processing every day, at that time. You need to make strategic decisions, but not in haste. Because once you make the right one correctly, then you can reap from it for a very long time. And of course, learn as much as possible. Very lastly, those who, I was at some point, some place 2 days ago, and I made a confession which I want to make also now. Despite all the things I have said here, I have already told you, as a businessman, I mean, let's not cheat ourselves that we are here to do this, to create value. You are here to make money. So I'm talking in that length. You know, when you're marketing a house, oh, I want to make good living abodes for other people. You're there to make money, my friend. Out of that, me personally, I have made much more money passively than I have made money actively. And I'll give you one because it is public information which you have read. I see on Twitter, stima ikipotea munaanza maneno. Me, I have never even been to Kenya Power offices because I'm just a passive investor. Passive. I have never been there for the last I don't know how long. The last time I was there was in my capacity as an MP ya kufuata stima, in my first term. But this year, last year, the year of Kenya Power, you can go at your own time, was trading. Last year, a time like today, was below 2 shillings. 2 shillings. 2. Meaning, if you bought shares then, if you bought 1 million shares then, you would have spent how much? 2 million shillings. Yesterday, which was Friday, Kenya Power share, after dropping slightly, I know it still go somewhere up, was 13.5 shillings. 13 point? So how much is that? Your 2 million is how much? 37. No, you are 2 million shares. We say, oh yes, you are right. Your 2 million is? No, it can't be 7. Fanya hesabu, 2 million shares would have bought you 1 million. 2 million shillings would have bought you 1 million shares. 13 and a half. You know najua nikisema hii mnafikiria ni pahali it's real. Si vitu tunasomanga kama hizo nimewambia za Warren Buffett. This is real. Kenya Re shares 3 months ago. Let me even use December. Kenya Re shares in December was 1.06. Yesterday, let me say the high. Average for last week. Not too much. 3.5 shillings. I want you to do the percentage. Kenyan shares, a year ago, a time like this, it was cheaper to buy 1 Kenyan share than it was to buy Peremende. It was maybe 3 point something shillings. As of yesterday, 9.7. It doesn't happen all the time. I'm not telling you at the Monday you go buy those shares. No. I am saying this. Some time back, I sat down, downloaded the financial accounts of Kenya Power, read, and I realized, ni mimi tunajua hii mambo ama ni nini? Because I saw a gold mine. I am going back to what I told you. You never move from M to B at the evil. You have to also spend some time